Hey guys, Erin here. So today is your lucky day. I have been working on these courses for Insight Timer, and what happened is they rejected it not once, not twice, but 3 times. So I might wind up doing the course for Insight Timer, who knows. But it's to your benefit because I am taking the, I think, pretty high quality sounding audios and I'm making them into podcasts for you. So the next couple of weeks, you're going to be seeing podcasts on the CLEAR formula, which is how we solve any problem, organize our thoughts, separate out the facts, see what our emotions are tied to our actions and results. And I'm going to be giving you the lowdown on how to use this in a really streamlined way. So this first series of podcasts, there's about 4 of them. I'm going to be going over the CLEAR formula in depth in a way that maybe you haven't experienced before. I do talk about this kind of often, but that being said, it's such a useful tool. Also, I want to announce that I am starting an online coaching group, and it's only $99 a month. I have 6 spots left. If you are interested in joining us, you can reach out Erin at erincoach.com. Those spots are not going to last. When they're gone, they're gone. And this is a reoccurring group. There's a minimum of 3 months. It's all about getting coached, having accountability, showing up every week, having tasks, and be willing to do the inner work. So if you wanted to work with me, but you just haven't been able to afford it, or if you're just curious about it, reach out to me. There is a vetting process if you've never worked with me in any capacity. I'll let you know what that is. And I hope that you enjoy this series of podcasts. Namaste. Hello, and welcome back to my masterclass on Relationship Toolbox, bonus section, identifying, acknowledging, and meeting needs. So when I talk about needs, I'm not talking about your basic needs, like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking more about emotional needs. So emotional needs are something that we can meet ourselves, but we can invite somebody else to meet our needs. It's important to recognize that when we ask to have our needs met, that it is never a demand. Rather, it's an invitation. It's a question, and being prepared to meet our own needs is a great way for us to empower ourselves. I have found that with many people, we're on such a giving cycle to where we're so self-sacrificial that we bury our own needs so much because we're trying to meet the needs of others, and we lose touch with what our needs really are. As a result, we will have behavior patterns that come out like resentfulness and passive aggressiveness and maybe even anger and lashing out. And maybe these are behavior patterns or emotional patterns that we're not proud of, that we don't know why. Why do I keep doing this? Why do I keep getting so angry at my partner? Why do I keep doing this self-destructive behavior? I will tell you that this has been life-changing for a lot of the people I've worked with. And so I'm happy to share this course on Insight Timer with you in this little bonus section. So identifying needs comes in a couple of parts. And by the way, this is based on the work of Marshall Rosenberg. I've expanded on it. I have taken my own approach to it, but at the core root, Nonviolent Communication by Marshall Rosenberg is a great book. Pick it up or listen to the audiobook and you won't regret it. It's a great resource. Now, for needs, the first part that we want to become aware of is noticing what state we are in. So let's say that we have an emotional activation within us, and it's sort of a vague discomfort, and we're not quite sure what's going on. So we take a few deep breaths, and we're like, okay, let's try to use these tools. Let's try to figure ourselves out. So let's say we take a few deep breaths, and we come up with an evaluative word, which is rejected. Oh gosh, yeah, when he didn't acknowledge me when I came in the room, what was it? I felt rejected. Okay, so if you have that, if you can at least grab onto that, that is going to help you decode what your needs are. So, some options for feelings or emotions that are tied to rejected. Is it because you feel hurt, scared, angry, maybe even a little bit defiant? So let's say that because you felt rejected, you were hurt. Like, oh gosh, I was hurt. I wanted love and I didn't get it. So then we can move on. So from rejected to the emotion, a little bit more clear, hurt. And why was I hurt? What would be the need? Now, needs, there are so many emotional needs that we can have. I mean, the list is huge, from respect and safety, autonomy, equality, integrity, trust, honesty. All of these different things are what we can practice becoming aware of so that we can start to express them. But this first part is just about acknowledgement. So again, we recognize, okay, I was rejected. I felt rejected and that hurt. I felt hurt. What did I need in that moment? Okay, let's see. Well, if I think with it, I wanted some connection, maybe some acknowledgement. I wanted to be included. I wanted to be seen. I wanted to belong to the group. So those are some options. So let's say that I just wanted some connection. I just wanted connection for a moment. I felt kind of alone. And then the pattern starts to unfold. Like, oh, okay, that makes sense. I wanted connection because I felt alone and I hadn't had that all day. And then maybe that connection we were hoping for some physical affection, right? We wanted a hug. But because we walked in the room and the other person didn't acknowledge us, it went through this whole list of different unmet needs because we weren't acknowledged, because we didn't have that connection. And what happens is we try to meet our own needs. Now, the thing is if we're unaware of what our need is, we have a sort of way about us most of the time where we're going to try to manipulate the situation. So let's say we walked in the room, there's that seeming rejection, we feel hurt, and we just want connection. So then, depending on what our pattern is, we might try to interrupt what the person is doing. And maybe because we're in that space of hurt, we try to confront them with something that we asked them to do and they didn't do because we wanted some interaction. Again, here we don't fully recognize what the need is. What happens is we start a fight. And because of that, we don't get the need met. But we're so confused and we're so frustrated and we don't know why. It's like what is underneath this? How come I'm acting this way? Can you relate to this? I know I can. So if we just become aware that, wow, that feeling of rejection was really just because I don't feel connected to myself. I really wanted connection from that other person. How can I meet that need myself? How can I help myself to feel connected? Many times for me, when I have a craving for connection, it's because mentally and emotionally I've been checking out for myself all day and I don't feel connected to myself. And so first and foremost, if it seems like the other person is working or they're busy with something, maybe they don't have that need. They can't meet that need for us right now. And that happens, right? That's real life. We would love to think that people are at our beck and call all the time. Wouldn't that be great? Maybe, maybe not. Because if we're outsourcing all of our needs to other people, then we don't learn how to meet them ourselves. And when we don't know how to meet our own needs, we will try to manipulate. We will try to, encourage the other person in some ways, and we might not even realize that we're doing it. And so if we can meet that need ourselves most of the time, then when we do want connection from that other person, but we know that we can give it ourselves, then we're not angry if they can't. What we do is, okay, he's busy. Let me go play on my harmonium so I can feel connected to myself and channel some bhakti. This is obviously a personal example because I have a harmonium. I like to chant mantra. But for so long, I would be resentful of my partners because they were not giving me something that I couldn't even name. And so that's one of the reasons I'm so passionate about needs and becoming familiar with them. Again, there's so many emotional needs that everyone has. And if you're saying, well, I don't have that many needs, I just have a few, take a peek, just take a moment, take some deep breaths and really get intimate with your inner experience and see, because everyone has them. If we are meeting our own needs, that's awesome. That's great. If you know how to meet certain needs, that's great. So I'll give an example. I went to a Vipassana meditation retreat. And if you've ever done a Vipassana meditation retreat, you know that you can't talk, there's no writing, no reading. You're meditating upwards of 11, 12 hours a day. You're sitting on a cushion. Your body hurts. You're going through it. And you're not allowed to really talk or interact with anyone. Your meals are served to you like you're not making eye contact. It's very, very inward process, and it's very, very powerful. So on about the 7th day of the 11th day retreat, I was having so much pain. I was feeling so lonely, and I'm a very huggy, touchy, lovey person. I do body work. I do many different things. I wasn't getting that for 7 days. And at that time, I was less skillful in meeting my own needs. And so I had all this pain come up in me and I couldn't hold it in. And so after one meditation in the Dhamma hall, I just started crying. I started crying, and even to the point where I started maybe having a tiny little tantrum. Not proud of it, but let me be authentic with you here. I had I was just crying a little bit, extra. I was kind of like peeking out of one eye, like hoping that someone would come and give me a hug or pat me on the back or give me some reassurance and help me to self-soothe. Now, nobody came. Spoiler alert, nobody came. Nobody patted me on the back. Nobody told me it would be okay. And after about 2 or 3 minutes of this crying, I recognized that nobody was going to rescue me. And so if you listen to the earlier part of this course, you'll know that I went from the victim into the creator. So what I started to do is I started to breathe deep into my back ribs. And what happened is that mimicked touch. So when you breathe deep into the different parts of your body, it mimics touch, and this can release oxytocin, which is the love hormone. So when I did that, I started to notice my state shift. I started to feel love. I started to self-soothe. It was one of the most powerful lessons that I had ever been taught, and pain and being resourceful and going through it taught me how to do that. And now when I feel lonely and I want connection and it's not available to me through other people, I know that I can meet that need myself. And that's really powerful. Not that you can't ask and invite other people to meet your needs. Certainly that is the core of relationships, is an interdependence, but not a codependence. You don't want to depend without any sort of backup plan within yourself that other people are required to meet your needs. That's unfair. Everyone has their autonomy. Everyone has their own experience of life, and many, many times people are busy and they're caught up in their own thing. I'm not saying that asking other people to meet your needs is wrong. It certainly is not. Again, relationships, it's I would say required. That being said, not all the time. Not everybody's going to be there all the time for you. And that's okay. Because you are powerful. You have everything you need inside of you to meet your needs. And when you remember that, you recognize that, then you're less fearful. You feel more calm because you know that you can handle it because you have your own back. So I hope this bonus section was enlightening. I hope that you'd enjoyed this course, and I hope to see you again for my next course. Namaste. Thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the podcast and if it's helping you, please consider writing a review. You can go to iTunes or Google Play, go into the search bar and type in Thrive Yoga Fit Transformational Coaching, scroll down, and you can leave a review. This helps other people to find me as well as bumps us up in the search ratings. Also, this podcast is sponsor-free, so that means we don't receive anything for doing it. If you feel so inclined and this podcast is helping to support you and you want to return the favor and help to support any production costs of the podcast, feel free to give a donation to a Venmo link, Thrive Yoga Fit, or PayPal, Erin@erincoach.com. If you don't have the means, don't worry about it. We're not going anywhere. You're all good. But if you would like to give back, you can give back in those ways. Thank you so much. Namaste.